Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at SmashItDerby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at StirringDirtRacing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, episode number 334 on deck for you tonight. Excited to have you along for the ride as we get this one tuned up and on its feet. I was just thinking, as we watched that opening, Brian, pretty much every car in that opening sequence has since been wrecked, scrapped, squashed, turned into Hondas. What are the odds that that metal has been wrecked again as an Accord?
I don't know if anybody's. I mean, it might be in some newer Fords. It might have got into some newer Vics. That's some of the newer stuff we've seen wrecked. I guess we don't know for sure. Chris is adjusting my camera. I walk in every week, and my camera is really, really close. So I move it back a little bit, and then
It looks like you're a million miles away.
and then we start to show, and Chris doesn't like how it looks. So then he has to get up and walk around and do it. You'd think after all these years I could do it right, but Chris likes perfection.
What we end up doing is you end up getting here. We end up talking about what the show's going to be and what we're going to talk about on the show, and I never even go in and look that close at it. So Marcella Benjamin's on. We have a bunch of folks. There's Ed Brewster checking in. Good to hear from Ed. Frankie Guy checking in. I'm gonna hit this right off the top. There's a bunch of folks that have asked me in the last 5 days, if we're ready for Riggs to appear on the show. And I didn't reach out to him. We were not the podcast that he was referring to. As my understanding is that is the Triple D's podcast. There was a bunch of stuff that was happening on social media. If you followed it, great. If you didn't follow it, so be it. I'm not really going to get into it a whole lot besides this. I love the sport, and our goal has always been to leave the sport better than we found it. And we went into one of those types of conversations years ago with Chad Markley and Sam Williams. And if you look back on that show, it made for compelling content, and people watched it, and that was not necessarily where we needed to be with Crash Course. The stuff that happened after it, the conversations that happened after the show, I look back on that and I don't necessarily feel that much sense of pride. I thought we did a good job in terms of moderating the conversation and juggling that stuff, but that's not the lane that we need to fill with Crash Course. If we want to be an independent news agency and throw hardball questions at people, we can take that spot, but I don't think that that's where we need to be on this stuff. We learned a lot about what the entertainment needs to be for Crash Course in that exchange. And I don't know if we need to necessarily go back to that. I don't think that there's going to be any winners. If we come out of the blocks with a program like that, while all you people that listen, all you fans that were listening, were asking for it, I think that ultimately there would be a split camp. There's going to be pros and there's going to be cons, and ultimately everybody starts getting pulled down. Mr. Riggs has his opinions on things, and he's more than entitled to them. I'm not going to sit here in judgment of that. I just know that for us and where we're at, I really don't want to dive into that stuff.
We're going to have to talk after the show because I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. So
But,
there's that. Al Crockett, Christy Germain checking in. I hope, and you know what? You can call me. You can call me all the names that you want for not pursuing this. Spineless, weak, coward, not willing to face it, only wanted to throw softballs, whatever. Fine. Fine. It's.
I wish I could add, but like I said, I don't know what's going on, so I'm gonna have to. I'll have to.
We do have Sean McCollum joining us tonight, so Sean will be on to talk a little bit more about Warzone and some of the stuff that's transpired on the Young and Restless fronts. Young and Reckless fronts.
I was gonna say Young and Restless. That's
soap opera. Little different move there. So it is what it is.
Real quick before we get too far in, I just want to send some good wishes and some prayers out to Big Wayne, the team manager of Scioppa Racing.
You beat me to that too.
He's well, at least I know what you're talking about in this one.
Right.
I've been in the woods, man. I've missed a bunch, I guess. I don't know. Big Wayne's having some issues right now. If you believe in the power of prayer, please do so. If not, if you believe in the power of good wishes, please send them to Pittsburgh. Wayne is definitely a huge member of the Scioppa family. Him and Todd literally grew up together. I think Todd tells a story of either him biting Wayne or Wayne biting him at like 2, and they've been best friends ever since, or something crazy. But best wishes to Wayne. Hopefully there's a complete recovery. We can get him back to running the show, because I think those boys would be in trouble without Wayne in the shop. So, again, if you can send some well wishes, send some prayers.
Was Wayne ever in the car?
I do not believe so.
Yeah,
I do not believe so. He just, handles the money, takes care of the building, makes sure the boys are all getting stuff done. But yeah, so if we can get some of our Derby family doing that would be terrific.
Did you see the bag of subs that were dropped off? You got to take care of the people taking care of Wayne.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah, so I knew when Zach and I went to New Alley for their show down there. Todd told me Wayne had some stuff going on, and that went okay, but there's some stuff going. I didn't even know about the latest development, and I actually sent Todd a message. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I felt bad for sending it to him, but he answered right back, and we talked back and forth and checked back, and hopefully things turn out okay for Big Wayne. We're all thinking of him.
Yep. Hi to Charlie Harris. Charlie Harris he's quite sick as well. Hopefully I got that name right. I'm going off of memory. He's pretty sick as well in the hospital. On the flip side, Ed Brewster had a checkup, and he posted that things were looking good.
Good.
I'm not sure to what extent looking good is, but that was certainly good to read. I haven't been in a whole lot of contact with Ed here the last couple of weeks, but I know he has been able to reconnect with some of his kids and met some grandkids and stuff over the last couple months. That was very exciting. So Ed's been doing very Ed things and very Ed ways. Sad news did come our way in the course of the topics. It's sort of irrelevant news, but still sad news that Motorama has been canceled in Harrisburg coming up in February. Ultimately, that was, I believe, the best way to word it is there was the decision of a facility, that gigantic hall, 1 million square feet, and they fill it with every form of motorsport.
Is that
possible.
where the big hunting show is? Am I thinking of the same spot in Harrisburg?
If it's the giant,
yes, like the north. It's like one of the biggest hunting shows in America.
We go down 15 and pick up 81 in Harrisburg. We go right near it. It's the big farm show complex, big red brick building. I think it was Giant or Wise was the sponsor on the building for a while there.
Also, last week it came out that Blizzard Bash / Capital City Carnage postponed again until November.
So it's back to just being regularly scheduled.
Yeah, regularly scheduled, November 2021. So, which, I mean, I don't know how it is in other states. I know right now New York is kind of a cesspool again. It's getting more and more frustrated. I mean, I don't know. I just wish, I don't know.
What?
Wish things would get better.
Yeah. Yep. It's
deer season's over. Gonna do a little goose hunting here in a couple weeks. About
Did you
10
see
days, 12 days.
Tim Jr. out from Grand Island, that buck that he shot?
No.
Tim
Hanazuski. Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Yes, monster.
Yeah.
It's funny, I'm on a couple of the hunting pages on Facebook, and people were either not seeing nothing or shooting trophies. It was little of nothing in between, I guess. But man, there was some beautiful deer taken this year.
Yeah.
I was over to Dad's yesterday. We went over and hanging out for a little while, and he was telling me that Kathy Larson, who lives across the road from my parents, her and her husband, they've hunted for years. She shot a 147 and 5/8 10-pointer this year with her crossbow. 50 years hunting. This is her biggest deer.
10-pointer.
Yeah. Apparently, they found the skull and antlers of a 15-pointer in their woods.
Drop time?
I don't know that. I haven't been over to see it yet. I guess they got it over next door. So they're out there. It's just, it is what it is. I'd probably see more deer if I was better at sitting still. I'm not real good at sitting still. So I'm going to have to invest in some blinds or build some hunting huts. Not like the Benjamins have where there's room service and heat and air conditioning, but, some poor boy versions, I guess, would be the right way to say it. But
Scott Brown says he misses whitetail hunting in New York. He's out in Utah.
I would think there'd be some nice hunting out there.
You'd think. He's too busy working, or he's too busy listening to
Listen to us at work. Yeah,
go do something.
Yeah, we
get out there.
I'd like to go out west. I've had a lot of offers. Someday I'm gonna start sneaking out there and do a little hunting.
Christy Germain says the beard looks good, and the next comment is from Corey Relier saying, "Just shave your face."
Thank you, Christy. Corey. Corey, shouldn't you be at a gas station getting something taken care of right about now?
Let's see. Catching up on some of Facebook got busy here, so I don't know if people were tuned in thinking that something was going to happen, or if people are just communicating.
Man, I can't wait to the end of the show to find out what's going on.
I'm not sure. Pork Chop's been knocked out for 3 weeks.
Really?
Shut down from COVID stuff, so he's back to work, which is good.
Have we touched on
Jack Walker had a stroke.
Oh.
Frank, but he's in recovery at this point. Frankie Guy sharing that. Pork Chop.
Pork Chop is building derby parts. I don't know if we've brought that up on the show.
I don't think we have.
Wide variety. Check it out. I believe it's Pork Chop's Parts on Facebook. Pork Chop could tell us if he
will. Just give us.
He said something to me a while ago. Hey, check some stuff out. And with everything that's gone on with me lately, my mind is pretty absent. So I was able to remember at that time. So Pork Chop has jumped into the derby parts business, which is right up his alley.
I trust he specializes in Mopar shifters, Magnum conversions, Mopar engine cradles.
Because Pork Chop is about helping people. So
no Mopar stuff, huh?
Probably not. Probably not. Not a lot of that stuff out there.
No. Hunting in Utah is way different. Yes, it's because it's the desert.
I think they just have muleys out there. There isn't a true whitetail. It's a muley, which is like a whitetail on decent steroids.
Yeah, it's not quite a caribou.
Eric Jr. and his grandfather went out and shot a couple of years ago. But
it's Pork Chop's derby parts.
Pork Chop's derby parts. There you go. Chris is feeling better. He, I don't know if he wants to make it public, but I'm going to. He, as we know, his back has been giving him a little bit of trouble. Last week, Monday night, he said, "Hey, let's push it back," and I finally kind of guilted him into taking an NF and relaxing because Chris is a glutton for punishment. He does look better. He's standing up. He's not twitching yet. You guys can't see when the camera's on me. Chris will move and try to get things moving. So hopefully he can get this. I offered to give him a back rub tonight on air. I thought it would be great viewing.
Get out.
I mean, look at these hands. Don't you think these hands could just do magic?
Because you are trying to solve a problem that isn't the problem. Those giant hands are going to start pushing muscles around, which are going to send them into spasm, which are going to knock stuff out even further.
Oh, okay.
It's the parts that aren't supposed to move back and forth that are moving back and forth. Oh, okay. That's the part that we're trying to get a remedy. But I got a phone call I had another MRI on the thoracic spine, which is from basically your rib cage up to your neck. see what's going on in there, because the latest is they want to fuse L4 and L5 together, and the factory modification was my L5 is already fused to my pelvis, which meant that the disc above it was moving more than it was supposed to. And then if you've ever seen Josh walk behind me at the Plaza Hotel when he does that exaggerated bounce to make fun of how I walk on my toes, that issue has changed all the angles and stuff with how impacts happen, which is putting more pressure in my lower back. So when I told the doctor that one time I rode with, I think I already made this joke last week, but I'll do it anyway. I rode with Jeremy Gully, and he said that was a stupid decision.
Like everything else, when Chris Marquardt breaks his back, he does it well. So
2 times, twice now.
So yeah, hopefully we can can get some relief and get some stuff fixed.
I have learned a lot about the anatomy and physiology of the human spine, the related ligaments and muscles, and how it all works together. And and when I joked that I might know as much about it as the doctor that I was talking to, he didn't even smile.
Yeah, they get grumpy about
Turns
that
out
sort of
I
thing.
am not close to getting a doctorate, or even an honorary doctorate for the amount of research that I've done. He didn't find none of that was even remotely entertaining to him.
Yeah, doctors get funny about that stuff, and that's one thing I remember from all the years is that back injuries are usually cumulative. Like when you blow a disc, it's cumulative. It's not something. So I've really, the last probably 10 years, I've tried to be smarter and not do as much yanking and pulling and lifting but
yeah, he said if I fuse those, I'm signing up, because I'm still so young. Well, you're not that young, but you're young enough to where you're basically signing up for a future lifetime of additional surgeries. Hey, let me put you. So did I leave that camera on? Good, I didn't. So Sean McCollum is joining us on the line. We're just trading all sorts of injury stories. Sean, nobody's going to be exacerbating any of their maladies this year with some of the COVID-related issues and challenges getting derbies off the ground. Just wondered how everything has been for you guys, making all your plans and trying to make 2020 come together as a season, as it were.
Well, it didn't take much. There wasn't much planning going on. We had quite a few shows planned, but only 3 of those. Actually, only 2 of those happened, and we picked up one with a speedway along the way. So, yeah, it was a tough year, but hopefully we can just pray that next year's a little bit better than what we got this time.
I think you just touched on something that I think when this garbage gets straightened out going forward, is I think some track promoters around the country have had their eyes opened to what Demolition Derby has become and the success, the success they can have with it. So hopefully going forward, there's going to be more avenues opened up to promoters and more obviously then more avenues for drivers. So hopefully if there's a good thing that can come out of it, hopefully that's it.
It could go both ways with that. I've kind of seen here lately where a lot of people are like, well, if the county fairs won't have it, we'll just buy us a piece of land and we'll just start our own promotions company up. And that kind of gets there's a lot more to it than just buying you a piece of land, digging a hole, and starting a derby.
You ain't kidding.
That can go really good for people, or it could kind of ruin the name for demolition derbies as well. But yes, the speedways, I think, and I don't really know how they got around it down here, but the speedway that we done, they hosted dirt track racing all year long down here, and it was every Friday and Saturday night, and they never got shut down. So
were they allowed to have fans though?
Yeah.
See, that's it's weird because our local tracks, Black Rock never got shut down and Canandaigua never got shut down. And Black Rock never had fans, but it was unlimited in the pits. And Canandaigua had fans for a while, and they shut down the fans, but it was unlimited in the pits. So it's weird how stuff was looked at or viewed.
Well, our racetracks up here were being grouped into congregation rules that were also applied to religious services.
Yeah.
Right.
Or protests.
Yeah, I'm not real sure on how he got around it. And I didn't meet the guy until this year. I mean, he just told me, he said, look, the health department come here the first time, and he said, I just ripped the paper up, told them to go back where they came from. He said, never had a bit of trouble after that. I don't know. I mean, maybe the dude got pulled somewhere, but he told me, and the bad part is we didn't get the show until the very last show of the year. And he told me, he was like, look, if you want to run these all next year, he's like, I'm game for it. So that's one thing we can fall back on, is hopefully we'll at least get to have some at the Speedway. And he's over 2 speedways right here, so
Gotcha.
that's a good thing.
Sure.
Definitely.
So Warzone, as we know in White Pine, off for this year, right? Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So for you, and I've reached out to Tim a couple times, Tim Clark at Smash It, to kind of hit on this stuff that you alluded to earlier, Brian, about the cancellation stuff being pushed in November. Conversation that's going to happen, it just wasn't going to happen this week. And I want to throw this question to Sean as well. How do you prepare to be prepared with all this? Because you're going to have input from the facility. You're going to have input from your drivers. It's not as simple as, remember in 2004, Brian, when the microburst and basically a tornado came through Waterloo,
Yep.
and we lost the county fair, and they moved it to the following Saturday? Mm-hmm. This is not the same thing.
Yeah, no
that
kidding.
affected 50 drivers and 1,500 people.
Yeah.
This is such a different ball game. How do you prepare to be prepared to start putting those things in place? Because you're working with cars, people, hotels, facilities. There's so much more that goes into it.
Right. Are you like referring to as like what I would have done this year or next year?
You had to have some inkling that some change or in some way Warzone was going to be affected. So, like, do you start asking people within the White Pine community? Do you start talking to that health department? Do you start talking to the people that are on the grounds? Do you start taking polls of the drivers? Do you start talking to other promoters? How do you put the pieces together to make the best decision ahead of time to protect your drivers from themselves, to protect your promotion and your business as a whole,
Right.
and also the facility that's given you guys the opportunity for the last couple of years to host Warzone at an indoor place off of the regular Derby season? I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. It can't be an easy
Right.
thing to do.
No, and the thing is, like, this show is nowhere near what like Tim Clark has, or anybody that does these big huge shows. Dude, my hat is off to people like that, because this is I don't want nothing no bigger than this. I mean, it's stressful enough as it is. The main thing, me and the facility manager just got together, and I mean, we kind of bumped heads at first on it, because I was really wanting to go with it, because with everything being shut down all year long, I was like, hey, this event is going to like sell out, no problem. Like, this is going to be huge.
Definitely.
But then, that is a college-owned facility.
Mm-hmm.
So, it has a big target on it. If they have this big, huge event, all these people show up, and half of them have masks on and half of them don't, then I knew right then and there, I was like, this is going to be bad. and I'm not going to be the mask police that goes around and try to put on a derby and make you wear a mask at the same time. It's like, it's not possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So me and him just kind of got together, and he was like, look, and the thing is, as far as like their cleanup, they don't have a lot of workers in that facility, so a lot of their cleanup and a lot of their like the people who park cars, stuff like that, they're inmates.
Oh, wow.
And the inmates can't come out because of COVID.
Sure.
He was like, we literally have nobody. And I mean, I offered to get more people to help, but he was still, it was kind of like his job was on the line if he made the call, and I was like, man, it's not worth all that. Let's just cancel out, as bad as this sucks, and nobody wants to do that. But thankfully, thankfully we got it figured out before we ever got entries in or anything like that, because that would have been an absolute nightmare getting everything all refunded and everybody squared back up. I'm glad nobody already started building cars, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, luckily we were way far out ahead that we hadn't really planned too awful much, and it worked out okay.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into putting one of these shows together, and I can't imagine
Right.
how much goes into having to pick it up and move it.
Yeah.
As we saw a couple shows. I mean, I think Toast had a couple rescheduled. Urban got moved until July. Wicked's show, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and then Blizzard Bash, they tried to relocate that to March, and that didn't come to pass. And we've already seen some of the stuff in the first part of the calendar, in addition to Warzone, losing Warzone, Winter Slam.
Yep.
That's been canceled
Just a
already.
dope show in Florida.
And yeah.
Yeah, the show in
the
Florida got canceled.
Tim Tigert Memorial.
And and the Tigert show also.
I'm really hoping Dixon gets to have Sturgis in January, but man, our rules around here, they're not that great as far as crowds and stuff. That's why I figured Warzone might go, because Tennessee's a little bit more lenient on that kind of stuff.
Right.
But and I even tried to find other facilities just to get it in, and I hated doing that. But man, even fair boards around here, like, they're just so scared to possibly get in trouble, and they won't hardly pull the trigger on anything right now.
Well, that's what one of our tracks around here that continue to operate out east of us. The gentleman running the track was leasing it from the fair board. So if the health department came in and said, well, we're going to yank your liquor license, he's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I saw it. And that's the thing. I mean, that's regardless of how you feel about, what's going on, you have to look at the eyes of, the people that are in control. I mean, let's say that, an event turns into a hot spot, and it's proven that it's a hot spot. Well, if people start dying, that's liability on you.
On you, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. And the crazy part is, last year, I never even all the way up to this year, I never even knew the health department even had anything to do with putting a derby on. I never even thought of the health department whenever I thought about a derby. But I was like,
very true.
Hey, it makes sense now. But yeah, any other time I would have never thought you would even have to have anything other than your concessions inspected and stuff like that from the health department. But we learned that real quick.
Yeah.
In New York, the health department has more jurisdiction than the Department of Environmental Conservation, the state DEC, and third in line of that is the state troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and that's. That's people don't. I mean, especially in today's society where everybody's looking to sue somebody. I mean, you can't.
Oh yeah, I'm in one right now myself over a rock getting hit. So yeah, so I know all about that stuff too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's and that's the thing. I mean, it's just such a hard spot that everybody's in right now, and it's you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I mean, we like I said, we went to Keystone Nationals, and it was outside, and there was some people wearing masks and some weren't, but I mean, outside you don't have, you can get farther away. You can, you're not on top of each other. So, I wasn't as concerned, but I mean, you get, 1,000 people inside one building, and, you're all breathing the same air. You're all right there with each other. It's scary. So,
yeah.
It's definitely a tough spot to be in.
And there actually is a guy that bought some land down here. I wasn't trying to sound mean or sound bad with people trying to get ideas on doing them, because they're just trying to keep it going. And I think me and him are actually going to try to work together next year if we can't get fair boards to go along with it. And like I said, I would have to have somebody look into like the laws and limitations on what you can do on private land.
Yep.
Right.
But he's building something pretty nice, and I think what he's got going on will actually work. But
it's funny how it works, because we've had.
That's how Roaring Knob came to be. That's
Yeah.
how that whole thing came together.
But it's, I mean, like you look up here, and there's been some guys up here that have had like their own New Year's derbies, and they grew a little bit, but I mean, they weren't huge, and the local authorities came in and shut them down. You know, and like the law, it wasn't even the Department of Health or anybody else. They came in and like, yeah, you can't do this. It was on private property. So it's weird how stuff works. Well, New York is kind of screwed up.
You get all that weird deal with land use and noise ordinance and the permission process, the actually having the permits to do a motorized event, whether it's private or not. It gets challenging. And one of the things
you gotta have all your ducks in a row before you ever pull the trigger on anything like that, because it can go south real quick.
And that's just to have it, let alone somebody ever gets hurt.
Oh God, yes.
And nobody wants that. I mean,
and this is completely off topic, but thinking about the liability, I can remember when we were seniors in high school, all of us guys that played football, our coach didn't let us hit in practice. Like it was. Yeah, that's a different story. So we all said, hey, let's take our pads home and have a game. All right. So we went to my buddy's house, whose father was the president of our school board. He comes home from work, and there's like 12 guys in his side yard. And I mean, we're all seniors in high school, and we are beating the snot out of each other in his side yard. And he looked like he got out of the car, and he was as white as that. The shining thing over there. I mean, he was, because, and as kids, you don't think about this stuff. But then, if one of us would have got hurt or something would have happened, oh my gosh, it would have been, he'd have lost everything.
Right.
But, and you don't think about that till now, but then you look back and, you see what these promoters are up against. It's crazy.
It really is. I mean, and like I said, it's the littlest things, man. I mean, you would never think, like, you're going to sue me over this, but they will. I mean, they will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, believe me, I know.
I am sure Christy and Devin up in Canada, the new owners of Impact, are loving this conversation.
Might want to edit that out of there. They might not be willing to go.
You know what the nice thing is, though, for Impact Motorsports and the new owners is that, with the vaccine, it's got to be -70, and Canada usually only gets up to like -50. So I mean, they're going to be in good shape with the vaccine up there. They should be having derbies by
only 375,000 people to take care of.
Yeah, they're golden. They're going to be good by March, ready to run. So
that's what I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping and praying that it comes through for this next year. I've got so many people that still got so many cars built from last year that didn't even run.
Right.
So
Chris and
I really think next year will be a good one.
Yeah, Chris and I were talking, before we went on air, as we always do, and we
should have been setting a camera.
Yeah, we were throwing around numbers and when we thought things would be happening, and hopefully by midsummer, where things are pretty close to back to normal, and everybody's out doing what they want to do, and we can move on and forget this shitty time.
I hope so, man. It's awful. I don't want to be stuck on this Demolition Derby PC game the rest of my life.
Are you one of those? Are you one of those poor guys that has a car built at home and didn't have any place to run it, or did you get to get out this year?
Man, it's almost a shame to even say this. I built a mini car and run it one time, and that is it. And never again.
Was it a Pessima or a Legrand?
No, it was a Camry. It was a nice build. It's just that's not for me. I'm a big car guy. No mini cars for me.
Yeah, them cars hit too hard, man. I just want to watch them. I don't want to get into them. Them guys are nuts.
It wasn't really about the hitting hard. It was just so much. It was just a totally different ball game driving with the front wheel spinning instead of the back wheel spinning. I didn't like it.
Fred Schaefer wants Young and Reckless in Southern Ohio. You got to come a little bit north.
What's that?
Fred Schaefer, one of the people watching online right now.
Oh, yes, sir.
He wants Young and Restless in Southern Ohio.
Oh, I would love to.
Young and Reckless, I'm sorry.
I would love to. Sign me up. I don't have one bit of problem doing that.
One of the things
I've had a lot of people say that. A lot of people from it'd be southeast Ohio. They travel down here and run a lot with us.
What's that? Let's go back real quick, and then we're going to circle back to this one. Canandaigua, the racetrack, which is on the Ontario County Fairgrounds. they were able to operate, but fairgrounds events weren't, like anything that was happening at the Otsego County Fairgrounds in Morris that didn't get off the ground. The Wheel Days event, most of the county fairs didn't happen. Yeah, but the independently owned racetracks that didn't catch a state subsidy in New York in any way for the operations, like a county fair would be, because it's a county-run facility, they were the ones that ended up closing, staying closed, and not hosting anything. So that's one of the things that Sean was kind of alluding to, is the fact that you could go on a private ground, privately own something, and potentially have an event. That's why the racetracks were able to operate. But even those were subject to different restrictions to their fan bases. And then our folks up here, once they found out that you could have 8 people per car, and a street stock doesn't need 8 people, and a modified doesn't need 8 people, they were able to say, "Oh, well, I'm signing in with the blue car over there." Which blue car? That one. Perfect. And off they go. And that's how you were able to see some fans in the pit grandstands. Genesee Speedway had pit grandstands that were full, and the concession stand in the main grandstands was open, but security was shooing people out of the main grandstands back to the pit area. And it worked. You know what I mean? That was Can-Am, but it worked. It was able to scratch the itch, and these tracks were able to make enough money off of the pay-per-views to at least pay what they had advertised for their weekly purses. But the touring season was done, and that's kind of where we're at with Demolition Derby in the same vein as that the private entities were able to host.
But you know what's really strange on that same vein, talking about touring, they didn't tour up here, but the late models and the sprint cars ran all over hell like they normally do. It's weird. I don't know.
States' rights. I mean, that's the glory of what our union is.
Mm-hmm.
We had one fair board that's around here that they had 4 shows this year, and they actually limited how many people could come through the gate. I think they limited like 800 or 1,000 people to the gate, and that was it. They turned people away after that. So I guess they were kind of setting their own capacity, maybe like 50% or something. But once you got in, they didn't really tell you where you needed to sit and stuff like that.
Well, I'm here to tell you, I don't have access to any promoters' bank accounts at local racetracks here this year, but for if there's 1,000 people that pay to get into the pits, most of them non-members, that's like $35 or $40 a shot, as opposed to $20 to go into the grandstands. So I mean, there was money made this year by some people that were doing it, but I mean, they were hypothetically. But the thing is too is and I can only talk for our area, but those 2 places were never named as hot spots.
No,
for any. You know what I mean? Because our area was like Seneca County was the low, and I think we still are. We're either the lowest or one of the lowest in New York State up until we didn't break 100 cases till probably a month ago.
Right.
So I mean, it's just been crazy.
It's pretty sparsely populated here, Sean. Yeah. We're not New York City. We're up in the Finger Lakes.
Right there.
A little different world where we live.
Right. That's probably a good thing. But it's as far as there was a few people that complained about pricing going on here because they're usually like 10 or $12, and they bumped it up to 15. But I just kept arguing back. I'm like, hey, they might have a lawsuit in a month over all this stuff. It doesn't hurt to pay a little bit more because they might need that to cover the expenses on what who knows who will sue them over them having this derby. So you got to think like that, which I mean, a lot of people get it. Some people don't, but I don't know, man. It's a big chance they were taking this year down here, anyways.
With the extra time and knowing that Warzone wasn't going to happen, and also with the uncertainty that's come in the wake of Thanksgiving and probably more uncertainty that's going to come with Christmas and New Year's, have you put any thought into planning out 2021? Is there anything that's going to be on the schedule at this point, or are you still in a holding pattern?
I'm in a hold right now, and they've actually, our state fair board convention was, I think, first or second weekend in January, and they've already canceled that. So that's where you kind of go and lay out your plan pretty much for next year and start signing shows.
Sure.
But luckily, everybody that we had before we're getting back again, and I think we've actually added quite a few more counties on top of what we had this year. But I mean, I'm getting dates in, but it's like, well, the drivers are like, well, what are you going to do about your rules? I said, well, we didn't even try the rules this year, so they'll probably stay pretty daggone close to the same that they have been. Mm-hmm. And I try to, there's a couple rules I'm going to tweak just because I try to accommodate to a few other people that put on shows around here, because it sucks for the driver that they've got to build a car for, this show or this show or this show. You can't take this one and compete in all three.
Sure.
So I'm going to kind of switch my rules around to try to help more the driver than anything. That way, you can run the car at several different shows rather than just this one spot.
That's cool.
Probably not 2021 isn't the year to do away with the full welds and just go bone stock, I suppose, right?
No, we got away from the metric stuff this year, and that's a good thing, because the metric cars around here are getting, they're way out of hand.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, people don't understand. That's just like the Speedway Derby. We wasn't expecting the car count we got down there.
Right.
We couldn't start inspecting until 12 o'clock. We had to be done at 4:30. We had 135 cars come through there. And I'm going to go on and tell you, I don't care if you had 10 guys. When you have that many cars come through there in that little amount of time, you cannot look at every car very long, or you're screwed.
Yes.
There's no way. So
very true.
I don't care what inspection crew you got, you're going to miss something, and that's all you can do is do the best you can and go with it. But when you've got people breathing down your neck, when's the show going to start? When's the show going to start? It can be hard, and it can be very stressful. But I think if we keep our rules away from that build to where you don't have to look at one car for 35 or 40 minutes and then tell him what all to cut and bring it back there, and look at it for another 10 or 15 minutes, that'll help us out on our time frame as far as inspection. So yeah, more along the stock side. We had a lot of windshield classes, and that's no motor swaps or nothing like that. So those cars are a lot easier, a lot faster to get in and get out.
The only another downside to giving drivers and builders all this time is, they're really bored, so they're really thinking of ways to misinterpret your rules.
Oh yeah.
But it's and it doesn't matter what rules you give some guys. Some guys are just talented, and they're just builders, and there's no way you're going to set them on a scale with another guy, because their mind doesn't think like some people, and their quality of their work is way better than some people can do. So making it exact to where anybody can compete, that's you can't do that with a car. Just say just simple rules such as like a motor swap class. When you got a talented builder, he's going to put out a nice product no matter what rules he's building to, unless you're running a bone stock car that you can't do nothing with. Yep. And that's we've touched on that before. Some guys, and we've seen it in our hometown, because they were back in the day. They would change rules pretty regularly.
Right.
But some guys are just going to put more time and effort into a car. It doesn't matter what the class. It doesn't matter what it pays. It doesn't. It's just who they are. They're just going to build a better car. And that's just one of those things. It's part of the show.
I've said it a million times. Most of your derby, the win is one right there in the garage.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
So, yes, sir.
Chris is catching up on
it. It's 2020 has been a wild ride, to say the least.
I'm ready for it to be over.
me and you both. And I'm not trying to wish my life away, but yeah, I'm ready for it to be over.
For sure. Yeah, I can't. I don't think I can argue with you much on that front.
Right. get up to par on my PC derbying skills. We're slacking on that. We've not played in a couple weeks.
Hey, Chris Marquardt's a great teacher. You need help. He's the one to get a hold of, man. He's pretty dominant.
Hey, I've been trying to get him to make me a skin for a while now. He's slacking on me.
I am. I had that out today.
He'll get it sooner or later. I'm not in no rush.
That's the thing, is like, I get really nervous when people say they're not in a rush, because usually it's the next day. Like, I thought I asked you to do this.
No, I'm not in a rush, I promise you. Man, that stuff is killer, though. I played it at a friend's house, and heck, it wasn't like 3 or 4 days later I was coming home with a PC. I was like, man, what am I doing here? But it's fun. I mean, it'll scratch the itch pretty good, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, and the best thing about
tonight, just about an hour ago, Roundbacks dropped.
Yeah.
And you have to
actually, my little boy's in there building one right now. I've not seen them yet, but I've heard about them already.
Yep. The best thing about that is you can drive however you want, and it doesn't cost you a dime. You can go out there and just hold it on the floor until everything's junk, and it doesn't cost nothing. The guy running the derby hits a button, and everything's brand new again. How great is that? It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it's a cheap way to derby, that's for sure.
I ran a few times with Chris and the guys here. I don't know, a month or two ago now, and I started out, okay, I'm going to take it easy and try to, and then that went out the window, and I just held it wide open both ways. It was a lot of fun.
I've done the same. I ran a team show, and I don't even remember how much money it paid. But I come in here, and I told my wife, I was like, I can't do that anymore. She was like, why? I was like, I'm in there fixing to, computer rage over this PC derby game because somebody's holding me. I was like, I'm done with this. Like, I'll run for fun every night, but I can't run for money, and these people hold me like that.
I ran yesterday. I ran Sunday night in Bryson Valentine and in Parker's league, PB&J, and I'm leading in the points. I got out of the heat, but I was getting beat up on pretty bad in the heat, and then we ran compacts, and I had 3 of the 4 wheels got ripped off the car. And then in the feature, man, I had no room. I had nothing. I was getting beat on. I'd get put in a bad spot, and it was just a train, one car after another. And I'm like, it's not teaming. I know it's not teaming, but I'm getting, a little bit angry here because I just couldn't get off the wall.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that happened a little bit on the one show I ran with you guys. I'm like, damn, I'm definitely the odd kid out here. What are you going to do?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I had to step back and just step off. I was like, all right, good running, guys. I had to get off. I was like, this is too much. I'm just going to do the fun runs. I like running with Prodigy.
Yes, Lee Sager is
He's
the
fun.
best.
Lee's fun to run with.
Yep, he's got a career league where you get a weekly stipend, basically your salary, and you start out with X amount of money in your bank, and there's incrementally more built rules going forward, and their next league show actually is Friday. I got to do that, and then
that's pretty cool.
It's so you got to pay to buy your car, and then after the car's run, you got to scrap the car out, and you get money back for what you scrap, and you can pay extra money to upgrade the frame. So it comes with an 87 frame, but you can be an 89 or a 91 underneath it. It is.
Now you're actually getting into the derby side of it.
Yep, it's.
Yeah, I better stay away from that.
It doesn't cost actual money. It's all in-game cash, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not real money. It's not. It's not like that. It's basically if you're a supporter of Lee on his stream, you're eligible to sign up, and then it's like $5 a month. And
well, that's not bad. That's cool.
Yeah, but you get. Then you get there's an entry fee to compete in the shows weekly, and you got to buy the cars, and then there's a payout, and it's all in-game currency, so it's all just fake money. But
I gotcha. So then if you win the show, then you can upgrade your parts and stuff like that.
Right.
You leave points on that too?
I've not looked into all that. My schedule, man, I don't know. I might be here Friday, I might not.
If you don't run,
really cool.
If you don't run on a Friday, you just make the money and you don't build a car and you run the following. They run twice a month over there. They run twice a month.
I might have. You've about talked me into it. I might have to get him up on that now, then.
Well, I run the sheets for him, so if you have any questions.
Okay, I see. I got you.
But well, you remember American Beans, Hunter?
Yeah.
He's got a league starting up now.
Cool.
He's got one started, and his.
I was
is
amazed
gonna
by how smart that dude is. I'm still amazed.
be- It's. I
Bro, I had to have a 14-year-old kid help me install everything.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't for this little guy, there's no way I would ever figure it out.
I was trying to set it up and it wasn't working well, and Chris was helping me one night and it wasn't working well, and we got together with Beans and he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. And from his house on his computer, he did everything he had to do, and it worked great ever since. So I just got to get back into it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'm just looking forward to getting some time and getting back into it again.
The first time I ever tried to join, I couldn't get my headset to work, and I could hear Chris on there telling him, hey, he's on there trying to join. And I was like, I got to where I was like, screw it, guys, I'll try it another day. You guys go ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hold you up.
My phone's become very busy since that drop. People asking about what the new update is like, and
I'm sure.
And they're already trying the wagon, and everybody's in love with it. And I do have to say, right now, I think this weekend was supposed to be the next RDP League, the Realistic Derby Project. Jesse Myers, who puts all the time and effort into making the cars and putting things together and stuff. They have a league with which Joey Malloy and JJ Dorer got together, and they put together the first cash league, and then JJ, through Grinding Gears Development, put his sheets out there for other people to use. They put the first one together. They were supposed to have an event this weekend, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm not for sure, but I mean, I started seeing some of these pictures of this wagon. It's like, this is, and then this is going to be cool. And then Jesse sent me a message. He said, get ready for everything to change. And he sent me a picture of the wagon, and the back end, it looked just like a round back would. You know what I mean? With the way that the tailgate pushes in and it flips the back bumper. You have to be a member, though, of the Realistic Derby Project Patreon page to get this update. You have to be a member.
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty sure I am anyways. I was. I'll see.
And it'll get sent right to your inbox. And it is constantly being updated. It's a live document. The Oldsmobiles have been changed. The shockers have been changed.
I can't wait until the Cadillac comes out so I can just nose out.
It's coming. Vito just messaged RDP rules. Yes, RDP rules. No one will argue that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Cool. Though I may want to try. Have you seen the big block modifieds are out on iRacing now?
Yeah.
I may have to try that.
Jeremy Armstrong was running them. We were sitting in a server on Saturday, getting ready to run. James Logston and Roger McClaskey have a server now, Alliance Motorsports, and they were running in a kickoff show on Saturday. I got fourth twice there. That was a lot of fun.
Roger's a good little runner on there.
Yeah, and there was somebody that was live in the Discord channel, just waiting for everything to start, making laps at Weed Sport Speedway.
Nice.
And in a modified, it was pretty cool. I'm like, that place is a half hour from my house.
Yeah, it's neat that they're getting to do that. I mean, there was a guy I saw on Facebook tonight. He had a Kenny Brightbill modified, and he had a video of it, and that was pretty cool. So I may have to try that eventually.
iRacing is no joke. Kool-Aid, David LeJewitt, he's got a Lula Zero.
Yep.
Themed. Purple and white number 4.
Yes.
Yeah, Lula Zero themed car.
I saw that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Are you talking about the dirt track racing stuff?
Yeah. iRacing with the dirt modified.
I've actually not tried that. I thought you were talking about the derby stuff.
We were.
Then up here where we are, the dirt big blocks are the big dirt cars up here. So we were just talking about that. My brother runs them. Chris has covered them for 20 years, 25 years.
So do you all follow dirt track racing as well?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. I got one of my good friends that runs Super Late models.
Who's that?
Dustin Linville.
Okay.
Runs the D8.
Mm-hmm. We Tim McCready, who runs the Lucas Oil Late models, he won the World of Outlaws 10 years ago. He started here running with my brother and stuff. So pretty good.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yep.
Tim McCready, Tim Fuller.
McCready's the only one still doing it.
Yeah, Tim Fuller got Ricky Elliott. That was another one. Ricky Elliott. He crossed over from the modifieds.
Yep.
And then you've probably heard of Stu Friesen from the Truck Series. He runs dirt modifieds around here with his wife Jessica when he's not traveling with the Truck Series.
Huh. It's pretty cool.
Yep. It's a very
Pretty
motorsport.
cool. I like the dirt track stuff. We actually went to a few races this year, and I actually considered buying one, but I was like, I don't know if the dirt track guys would care much for a derby car guy out there with them.
Yeah, that's why I never got into it. I mean, I worked on my brother's cars forever, but I never had the real desire to get in the driver's seat. I knew
Yeah.
Dumping fuel and getting carted out of the dirt track at Charlotte.
not carted, escorted.
Man, bang for your buck. The derby stuff's pretty good.
Absolutely.
It's I'm so excited about the video game stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's just one more way for the community to get smaller, for the world to get smaller. You know, we had this conversation about all the different graphics manufacturers, all the different apparel manufacturers, all the different live streaming elements, and then you start getting those secondary and third tier rings where you've got the model car contest guys, where they make the models, the 124 scale.
Awesome.
Models, and you've got like what Ed Brewster helped introduce to the sport with the RC Derby stuff and how big that got. This is just another extension of it. And
Still got some of those floating around here.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. That used to be our thing on when we would get rained out, or if it was too cold to work in the wintertime, we'd kick the heater on in the garage and we would derby RC cars for hours.
That's cool.
But,
Vic Coffey, he crossed over for a bit where he was doing late model stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Aldridge was tuning in. We forgot him.
Yeah.
We forgot Vic. Yep.
yeah, it's
For sure.
something to do, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I kind of usually tell everybody that we're going to be on for 15, 20-minute blocks, and here we are. It's 45 minutes later.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not.
it's
It's my fault for not managing the clock better. We had a bunch of different good conversations to be had, and thankfully you were on for all of it because you helped bridge the gaps to the other topics that we wanted to hit on tonight. So it worked out just fine ultimately.
Good deal.
Is there anything else that we want to hit on before we let you go?
No, buddy, I'm good.
Good deal.
Well, I will get you your proofs and stuff out. Shoot me a
Oh,
message.
you're good, man. I'm in no rush, so I promise you.
And,
No rush. You want some tomorrow.
And let me know if you decide that you don't need it on a Ford anymore or a Lincoln, and you instead need it on a GM wagon.
On a wagon. Oh, okay. Yep, makes sense. Maybe that worked out for the good then.
Maybe. Well, Sean, man, I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you all.
Absolutely, man. I wish you the best. Stay in touch as things develop for 2021.
Yes, sir. Thank you all again.
You
Have a
bet.
good one.
There goes a couple thoughts from Sean McCullum. Appreciate him coming on and hanging out with us for a bit there. Sean again with Young and Reckless.
Young and Restless.
I don't even know
Got to pay some bills.
what we do, and after we were off last week and didn't make it in. Oh yeah, you told me to take it easy, so I did.
Good.
Then we came to final round, final round, drag racing show, final round, 31st lap still drag show. I haven't done one of those in forever, and nobody's. I mean, I'm busy enough as it is. They went for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Ooh.
Final round.
Really?
On Thursday. We had a couple of folks come in from Western New York and got talking about everything under the sun. And basically, about 30 minutes into the show, I shut my microphone off and just sat here and waited. Eventually, it got to the 2-hour mark, and I messaged Jason on his phone and said, you need to start thinking about wrapping this thing up because we're going to run out of space in the computer to save this. And then there's not going to be an episode.
Wow, that's awesome. That's,
So,
good.
yeah,
That's an amazing
pretty cool.
episode.
It was busy. It was fun. It makes me nervous when you go that long because I'm so used to going an hour. I don't know if we're holding the audience's attention, if they're going to go back and stick with it, but it worked out okay.
Good.
No Mercy's coming up in spring 2021. We're looking at April, but no formal date yet with Dead Man Derby, deadmanderby.com. Friday is part of the program, 3-man compact heats, 80s pro stock heats, half-ton trucks and SUVs, and the last chance events with youth compacts, the Imperials, minivans, mini trucks, and SUVs, full-size team derby, the Dead Man Compact, 70s and 80s pro stocks, 3-man compact team features paying $6,000 to win, and the full-size Mercenaries, that's a one-and-done, $3,000 to win. All that part of No Mercy with Dead Man Derby Productions, not promotions, because it's entertainment, right?
Right.
All right. On I guess I'm just gonna go with this. I haven't been able to connect with Tim. Tim's got enough other stuff going in his life anyway with everything, and good to know that Fatty's on the road to recovery. I traded some messages with Tim Clark Jr. today, and he made me a little choked up at school because I wasn't ready for this. He was going through old episodes and came across episodes. Where are they? 33, 75, 203, and a handful of others. And Russ was on them. And he said that's the first time he's heard Russ's voice in a long time, and he got to go back and watch him. And I'm trying to help him get the Masters, and he just thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool as well. So appreciate Tim sharing that, and it brightened my day a little bit. It was nice to hear. Smash It Demolition Derby. Many thanks to everybody who supported Smash It in a challenging and unprecedented season. Of course, they couldn't do it without the support of the drivers, fans, Fairboards, partners, year after year. The staff, of course, Candace, all the help with trying to get everything off the ground in Topeka. Big thanks to everybody. Online, you can keep up with everything, smashitderby.com. Officially, John Shipley. We got a nice thank you card from Mark Elliott for the support for the year. I meant to bring it, and I left home without it. John Shipley was officially awarded his ring and his trophy. So John Shipley, the 2020 527 Unified Point Series champion. And you can get all the final standings, the official after the audit, on 527UnifiedSeries.com. Rounding things out as the Midnight Express comes charging through downtown Seneca Falls, Jeffy's Fab Farm, jeffysfabfarm.com. You can jump online and hit the virtual store, last-minute stocking stuffers like Weldon Centers and other various parts. You can still get a hold of those. I don't know if you're going to be able to get the complete LS shipped in time for Christmas, but you can always make the phone call. Recognized as the national go-to, they specialize in that LS conversion and offer a bunch of different header options. This summer they released the 4-cylinder Camry mount, the Hyundai Elantra 1.8 and 2.0 displacement headers. They've got bumper-to-bumper selection, including fuel and air parts, suspension, and transmission items, steering components, pedal shifter, switches, and gauges. If you need it, you can find it on the farm. And rounding things out, Smith Metalworks, experience and passion second to none. Smith Metalworks, they are loaded for bear over there, 40 plus years of metalworking experience. They've got that super stock bumper that we've talked about so highly. The pointed and flat bumpers are out there as well. They can be run stuffed or hollow. You can put them on compacts and cut the ends off. It's really, really cool what they've done along those lines. They've also got Crown Victor skins, battery boxes, engine mounting system, pedal combos, and shifters. All the odds and ends, such as distributor clamps, Weldon centers, and of course those GM floor liners. In-person locations are in Mercer, Uniontown, and Bethlehem, PA, or jump online and they can ship it right to your door.
One other thing, quick. I saw on Jeffy's page and his wife's page today, they had to have their dog put to sleep.
Yep.
10 or 12, 13 years, something like that, they'd had the dog. So I've been through that. I know how much it hurts. So, our condolences to Jeffy and Mrs. Jeffy. It's a rough thing to go through.
Never easy. There's a handful of those that have happened, and it's never good. And then you factor that with all the conversations that happen about the fourth wave that we won't necessarily see that's tied to COVID, with the separation anxieties and the loneliness and the depression and stuff that's going to come with all the stuff, especially when we get into the doldrums of winter, if you will. Mm-hmm. So losing a pet, not a great time to have that happen around the holidays like this, but hopefully they can find some solace in that. Yeah, what I did is I transferred to you in a hard cut, and it turned the camera microphone and your microphone on like it does every so often, and the fans were right on top of it before I noticed it. So
sorry, Chris screwed up.
I messed that one up. I hard cut, and that's why it's not messing up anymore.
You got to be smooth, not hard.
Marty Stager noticed that I lost my face razor, but was able to find one that was able to cut my hair. So
we gotta find you a good hat, man. You haven't had a lucky hat since the one blew off going to Ohio.
We were cleaning the garage, and I found one of the original Crash Course hats underneath a workbench thing. It had somehow fallen out of the box and fell down or whatever. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find that again.
Who would have thunk?
Yep, who'd have thought? Anything else?
Hey, we're not having a New Year's Eve party this year.
No, we are not. Did I put that up there? No.
No, I just wanted to see if I could make everybody giggle.
See, one of the things that is in the back of my mind.
Oh boy.
Is with
World domination?
Going out to derbies and having the New Year's Eve parties and stuff like that is I work at a school with little kids, and little kids spend time with their grandparents and stuff. They spend time. I do not want to be patient zero in the wing of my school or be the reason why our district closes.
Yeah.
Not on a chance.
Very
Not,
understandable.
especially when I'm at the bottom of seniority with no tenure.
No kidding. Yeah, that was, the one nice thing for me, is my vacations, I'm on vacation now, so I'm pretty much quarantined. I feel I'm fairly safe, so I'm able to go over and see Dad. And, the boys have only been, Zach is, middle school got quarantined again, so I don't think they go back till this week. And Zach is only going 2 days a week. And, Crystal, on the other hand, she's working in Geneva City schools, just like your wife, so that's a little nerve-wracking.
What building is she in?
West Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah, a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Hold your breath because it's not good to breathe the air.
yeah, no kidding. So she might start wearing 2 masks
Yeah.
just to be safe. I might send her in with my welding helmet. I don't know.
I don't know if that's going to do what you want it to.
At least my grinding shield.
Yep. Well, what
I
do
think
you
that's it, man.
All right. Good deal. Well, we sure do appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out with us here for a little while. We will most likely be back again next week,
God willing.
and we'll have another one. Maybe we'll be able to get a hold of Tim, or maybe what we'll do is we'll try and get a hold of a bunch of drivers and see what's on their Christmas list.
I know what's on my Christmas list.
What's on your Christmas list?
Normalcy for the world. I don't
Yeah.
want anything. Just make the world back to normal, please.
Yeah, I get that. You might
We last week the final shoe for the second shoe fell on my son. There's going to be no football his senior year, so that pretty much sucks. It's not my year has gotten shittier and shittier as it's went on. So
well, it's ending in what, 16 days, 17 days,
18 isn't what's today 13th?
14th.
Is it 14th?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm looking at it.
All right. That means I go back to work in like 20 days. God,
Oh,
that
man.
sucks.
Life must be awful. I don't know how you can manage it. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. We will see everybody again next time. Thanks for watching.
The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at SmashItDerby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at StirringDirtRacing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLinks1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.
Can we talk yet?
No, not yet. We will.
Dude, what is Goldberg doing coming back to WWF again?